All our videos are scripted. All our videos are scripted. All our videos are scripted, and we don't have a mind of our own. That's why. All our videos are shit. All our videos are shit. Now the audience has to say it. All our videos are shit. All our videos are shit. All our videos are shit, and they're all very scripted. That was off top, dog. That was off top. That was off the dome.
That was scripted too.
Good to go. Rock and roll.
Who's gonna start?
Not it. Nah.
Okay.
Not it wins, dog.
Today's video is going to be a discussion on the topic of counterfeit clothing.
So before we get on with the video, we should probably preface this by saying that Jeremy has recently encountered a very, very weird situation. He signed up for a student-run experiment at his school, and unbeknownst to him, this was actually an experiment run by students who are petitioning to bring back frontal lobotomy surgery. And as you can probably tell in this video, Jeremy will present absolutely no emotion. He is dead. He is dead inside. He has no soul left. If you were blind, you'd think that he's a ginger. And I know the real question you're actually asking yourself is, do I often refer to myself in the third person? And the answer is, only when I narrate sex.
We're going to be focusing strictly on counterfeit. That is when people release clothing with the name of the original clothing company on it. So they're trying to make like a one-to-one replica of the piece and disguise it as an original. So like you purchase the clothing with the intention of wearing the piece as if it was real.
And you probably paid like 1/10 of the price.
Counterfeit clothing in general is a very, very polarizing topic. There's a lot of people who completely oppose it. There's a lot of people who support it. I feel like people who oppose it generally use the argument that it's pretty much stealing other people's work. It's stealing artists' work, and you're supporting companies that make money off of things that they themselves didn't really create.
The most effort you put into it is trying to like find out like the patterns and stuff and how you can replicate it the best, but there's no actual creative thought involved, or like the creative process is completely kind of skipped over.
And on the other side of the spectrum, there's people who support it. They do buy counterfeit clothing and they wear it, and generally I feel like their justification for doing it would be generally just, I'm pretty much just a drop in the ocean. It's insignificant whether I buy it or not, whether or not I participate in the market or not. It'll always exist. Counterfeit clothing will always exist. So what's the difference whether or not I buy it or not? So two completely separate points. There's obviously arguments to make each one true. Therefore, we can't really say that one's better than the other. It really just depends on the person. This is a completely subjective topic.
Yeah, we can't say which one is better than the other, but what we can say is our opinion.
Yeah.
And we kind of hold the same opinion in that as long as you are honest with people who ask you if what you're wearing is fake, that's totally fine. As long as you are completely honest with people when it comes to, when confronted.
Not being honest about your purchase and lying to people who are questioning whether or not your piece is real or not kind of suggests two truths, and that is you're afraid of confrontation, you're afraid of having an argument with the person that's questioning you, and the second would be kind of you using something that's not real as a means of kind of putting yourself above other people. Both of those things present two kind of like fundamental insecurities, in that when you can't have an argument with somebody and you can't justify your decision, it suggests that your decision was not completely thought out, and you're unfortunately insecure about your decision to buy that thing.
Exactly. It's like you want all the praise and all like the attention that the piece gives you until it's actually questioned, and then you want to shy away from it.
Yeah. And another insecurity that has to do with you lying about the piece is when you have to put yourself above other people and you have to buy these fake clothes to be able to have a certain
feeling about yourself, suggests that you're insecure about yourself. Yeah.
So that's kind of why we don't like dishonesty. It's not just the fact of you being dishonest, but it's that kind of like that insecurity behind it. You're not really actually being completely honest with yourself as to why you're buying that piece.
It shows what kind of person you are, for sure. It makes you seem a lot more slimy, I think, if you buy fake clothes and try to pass them off as real.
Yeah.
You look very bad.
And there's actually a study that was done that Adam showed me.
Yeah.
And it was basically, they took like a test group of women, let's say they put like 20 women, right? And they gave them all Chloe sunglasses.
All real.
And they told half of them that it was counterfeit. and they made them do a few tests or whatnot, and the test would kind of decide whether or not the person was being honest. They were like honesty tests.
So what the test comprised was some really, really hard mathematical problems that could not ever be solved within that time frame that they gave them. And the woman, once the time was up, they were given money for each answer that they marked that they thought was correct. So they were incentivized by money to mark their answers correctly, even if they knew that wasn't correct. And what they found was that 70% of the women with the fake sunglasses, or the glasses that they thought were fake, ended up marking themselves higher than they should have, while only 30% of the women with the real sunglasses did. I think that comes from you wearing one thing that's fake, so you think that, oh, I'm already wearing, this fake stuff, I might as well just keep going about keep going on that route.
I'm already deceiving other people, so I may as well be dishonest about other things.
Yeah.
With that being said, dishonesty is just the one thing we completely oppose, and we would actually judge a person based on that if you're not being honest about your purchase. There's other things about counterfeit clothing and the counterfeit market that we would oppose and we wouldn't indulge in. However, we wouldn't judge you on that, just because that is your own decision. If you're being honest about it, clearly you've made up your mind, and that is just your
opinion.
And
you're entitled to it.
Analyzed it, and that's what you came up with, which is completely perfectly fine. So keep doing it. So we're not telling in this video people not to purchase counterfeit clothing. This is more of an informative video. We're kind of taking a step back. We just kind of wanted to present you guys with how we feel about it.
Yeah.
If you feel differently, we're not judging you based on that, but if you're not being honest about it, you're insecure about it. So with that being said, let's go into the first kind of reason why people purchase counterfeit clothing in the first place. And that is to, we've mentioned it previously, very briefly, to flex. When it comes to designer clothing and when it comes to streetwear, a lot of streetwear brands, for example, are kind of following along the footsteps of designer in that they provide very, very expensive articles of clothing for a very exclusive amount of people, and then those people wear clothing that's recognized on the masses, and they get that kind of the social upstanding. They get put on this pedestal for wearing what they're wearing and investing their money into what they're wearing. When it comes to counterfeit clothing, in order to maintain that status, in order to maintain that flex status, in order to maintain that image in society and that pedestal that you're put on, you need to be dishonest about the clothing itself in order to maintain that, right? Because if you tell the person that's asking you, or if you expose to the world that the thing that you're wearing is fake, you don't get that same pedestal. That's kind of one reason why people would do it. Flexing is expensive, and they want an easy way out, so they just can't afford pieces that they like. That ties into the next reason why people buy counterfeit clothing or claim to buy counterfeit clothing, and that is because they like the design and they like the aesthetic of a piece, and nobody else is offering it except for the counterfeit company.
For a price that they can afford.
Yeah.
So some people argue that, oh, I'm buying these fake Yeezys because I can't afford real Yeezys, but I like how they look. Okay, that might be true for some people, but I honestly don't think that the majority of people buying fake Yeezys are buying them because, oh, the design just it's just a work of art. Leonardo da Vinci designed these shoes. It's not like that. It's in the back of your head, you already have this perception of Yeezys being exclusive, Yeezys being a sign of wealth, and that's why you're buying them. And you're convincing yourself most of the time that, oh, you like how they look. When if that shoe was at Walmart for $20, you wouldn't give it a second look. You wouldn't even care if it wouldn't look good to you. But because in the back of your head, it's your subconscious working and telling you that these shoes signal that you have wealth, that you have, a lot of money, and you don't want to tell yourself that because then you kind of feel a little bit dirty. So you kind of go one step further and say, oh, I like it because it looks good. So I can't afford the real one, but I'll buy the fake one because it looks good. And most of the time it's not the case, unfortunately.
Yeah. And a good way to kind of show that to yourself or explain that to yourself is to ask the question whether or not the exact same look can be achieved with non-branded items. That is, things that are not replicated and things that are not counterfeit.
Yeah.
And in the majority of cases, in the very, very vast majority of the cases, that is actually the case. These things can be recreated with your own kind of, input. People may claim that they want to take an easy way out by buying counterfeit, but usually the look that they're trying to go for is the aesthetic of the brand that's recognized, and the reason why you want to go out of your way to find a piece as a counterfeit piece is so that people can recognize it as that. right? Which would completely tie within our first point, which is that it's a flex piece.
Very rarely, very rarely, like teeny tiny, like 0.00001% of people who buy fakes buy them because the item they're trying to get is so exclusive, so limited that it's almost like it's impossible to get it, pretty much. So what I'm talking about here is like for example, Raph Simmons. If you guys know about the Raph Simmons New Order kind of parka, there was not a lot made. It was like 10 or 20 or 100. It's like an archive piece. It went up on Grailed for like $15,000 or something last time it was up. So obviously almost no one can afford that. But if you really like that piece for what it is, and you like Raph Simmons as a designer, and you want to have that piece in your collection, but you can't afford it and you can't find a real one, some people will buy fakes to kind of have it, I guess.
The thing is, the reason why it's so exclusive and the reason why it's so limited is because there's a lot of like effort put into it, right? Raph Simmons would not release that to the masses if he didn't think that it was like a art piece, like a creative, like a really creative art piece, only there for like the limited amount of people.
Exactly.
And it's almost like disrespectful to the artist. I feel like if the piece is limited, there's like a certain amount out there, not for them to make money.
There's a reason, like you said.
They're rich, right? These people don't need money. They don't need extra cash. This is like dog money to them. They know that if they release it, it's going to sell out, right? There's a reason why they're not releasing it, right? There's a reason why they're putting a limited amount out there, and it's because they have a lot of respect for it, right? They believe it's a piece that should be limited. So just keep it that way. Keep it that way if you respect the artist. So we hope you guys learned something from this video. We hope you didn't come up too rash. We tried to make this as unbiased as we possibly could. Obviously some bias will slip in just because of our own personal opinion about the matter. But I don't think anybody could really disagree with the fact that this honesty is just not, it's not a value that's really, it's not a value that's valued by many people.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something people, it's not like a trait you look for, right? You don't go on a dating website, it's like, I'm very dishonest.
But for all you honest people out there, we love you. You're a real common apparelers. Love you guys. Love.
Alright guys, see you again in the next episode. That was Common Apparel. We're out. Bro fist. If you guys didn't know, we're huge fans of PewDiePie. Not the new PewDiePie, the old PewDiePie.